Good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing? Yet again, another gap up to start the day off. Surprise, surprise. Hovering right around 462, 461.73 to be exact right now. In terms of news, there's not really all that much out there. It's just the market buying this little weakness up here. Not really much has changed in the terms of the Rona. And then, of course, we had J-Pow come out yesterday and said that he's dropping the word transitory from his right out of the gate is green with this little gap up here. VIX is down about 4 points to 23.5. TLT, the bonds are down as well, and everything else is green, baby. Green, green, green. However, first candle out of the gate is red. Coming down, we got the levels plotted through S1, now coming down to S2. I'm going to be looking at the first contract, or the December 2nd contracts, I'm sorry. Yesterday, as we all know, I was playing one-day DTEs, but even the volume on SPX was so low and the spreads were so crazy, I actually switched to SPY going for the afternoon trade because things were just so crazy. So, yeah, I went ahead and switched there. I don't know how things today. I'm going to look at the option chain to see what the volume is like today. But, yeah, going from there. Going for there. Nope, my mic is not muted. What's going on here? It is muted. All right, so okay. All right, now I'm back here. All right, so yeah, somehow the mute button got hit. But yeah, we're here now. Right out of the gate, we have a red candle right down to S2. I'll be looking at the December 2nd contracts. I know yesterday the volume was a little crazy, so hopefully the volume's a little bit better. Primas are a little bit cheaper today than they were yesterday, so hopefully that brings it a little more volume into the options chain. But right down to S2 out of the gate, everything is green. The VIX is down to 23.5 from up there, 28.5. That's a 5-point move overall. For the VIX, and then 3.5 there in pre-market. So yeah, nice red candle first straight out of the gate. The QQQ down here as well. Let's take a look at the top 10. Microsoft, Apple's red, Amazon's green, Tesla's big green on Tesla. Surprise, surprise there. Up another 2.5% and climbing. Google's red, Nvidia's big red on Nvidia and Facebook, and then Berkshire and JP Morgan about the same here. Green candles here. Right there, I'll be looking at the December 3rd contracts. I'm sorry, December 3rd contracts, as long as I can get some volume on these babies. And man, these premiums are expensive still. All right, let me post here. Had 3 good plays yesterday. A lot of stuff was crazy going around. Let me post the watch list. Standby 1. Let's see here. And I'll figure out the SPY. All right, watch list is posted. And SPY. All right, so first green, we have a first big red candle there. QQQ's got a little green here. VIX popped up 24.24. What's the financial sector doing with the bonds down like this? So the bonds been downtrending, and now it's been right here with this little flat open. And let me take out the contracts here for SPY. Man, things are crazy there. 4, 6, 2. All right. Let's see here. All right, all right. Yeah, so yesterday, as we discussed there, I swung a call spread into today, and it's still working out very nicely. So I was up considerably yesterday. I figured that we weren't having too much downside too cold to get up to 46.70, so I took one of those 46.75, 47.15 call spreads, working out pretty nicely right now. I think it'll hold for this day, so it's got an expiration of today. I think I have pretty good confidence it'll expire worthless, knocking on my fake laminated wood here, and see how today goes. Right now, I'm going to see whether or not the pivot is going to start to form right around our open, if we're going to fill the gap, or if we're going to continue on upward through the gap. I'm sorry, through the upwards mobility here through R1 and above. I know R2 is going to be a pretty decent pivot there to focus on, to see if we ever actually get up there. See if we actually get up there. Right here. Meet that. Hey, what's going on, John? Octo Daddy. Well done. What's going on? Alrighty. We remove that in bed. There we go. All right. So red candle right down to S3, and we're still waiting. No, hey, I'm not alerting the swing play. I'm discussing after the fact all my swing positions in terms of theory in the Incredible Patreoners room. But right now I'm developing a strategy, and I have some new stuff coming out here in December for the whole community, in terms of utilizing credit and debit spreads, calls, puts, iron condors, that sort of thing. In the community, and I'm going to be utilizing the SR levels to do such that. So I'm developing a strategy for it. So it's not going to be a call outs just like I do with the long calls. I'm still going to be doing those, but I'm not really necessarily going to be focused on calling out short plays like that, because I obviously, I don't want to be too cavalier with that. You can get hurt very quickly if you don't know what you're doing, or you don't know how to manage position and downside. And I do not want to call out a position where somebody can lose 1,000%. So it's going to be more of a discussion. It's going to be more of an educational discussion in terms of those plays if you want to start taking advantage of some longer, some short plays, some riding calls. But yeah, be on the lookout for that. A lot of stuff going on here in December and into January as well. Got a lot of stuff cooking behind the scenes. A lot of chili cooking. All right, so 460.65. We didn't quite get down all the way to S3. The VIX now is up here to 24.32. We're getting kind of failed earlier this morning. And QQQ has got a little green there. Let's take a look through the X's. XLK is green after a little red. XLY is on the uptrend. VF. Let's see here. A lot of red. Right there. Okay. Credit spread. Yep, this is December, for sure. You're right. Then we'll be rolling out a lot of stuff for show. I tried to paper trade calls and puts credit spreads that were working well before SPY dropped significantly. Well, there's still a way to do it, especially with the elevated VIX, the elevated premiums. You still for sure do that. All right, so we had this red right down on S3, and we're still just hovering right here. Not too much crazy movement at the moment. The morning range is 461.83 to 460.24. That's a $1.60 range. Pretty decent range. So looking at these plays here, what do we got going on? I'm going to bring up the options chain here on these calls, and I want to focus on the volume here to see what the spreads are. I just want to get a feel for how the spreads are moving, how things are shaking out. Yesterday, I did not like the action on SPX at all. It was difficult to manage the play, that first play. It was difficult to manage it because spreads were so wonky, and you couldn't really get filled very quickly. I know that other people were talking about that they had issues getting filled as well in the SPX. All right, XLF is got some red action here. The bonds now are down as well, so let's see what the move starts to be made. SPY is still holding the bottom of the channel, 460.61. Oh, you're welcome to, Ambitious. You're welcome. Thanks, Webb. Yeah. Yeah, so, I've been talking behind the scenes, and these SR levels have been working very well for these long positions, but I want to expand. I think there's a good potential here to start utilizing call writing opportunities with these levels. Whether or not you look at them from a weekly basis or a daily basis or 2 to 3 days, I think you can start utilizing certain strikes with the call writing to start gaining some premium. So I'm going to start utilizing that as well and give it a whole over-encompassing or overarching strategy for everybody, so you can choose whether or not you want to do long positions or call writing, whatever your jam is. I think that can help you. All right, so I want to take a look at the 1 year and show you what this looks like. That's too much. Bring it back. All right, so we had this big flush 2 days in a row. Flush, gap up, flush, yet another gap up. And now the question remains, are we going to stair step down, or are we actually going to get our bounce and go back up? So we are, let's see, what was the high there? The high was 473.54, and we came down to 455. So almost a $20 move, which doesn't sound right, but it is 473 to 455. Will that complete the end of the bear session, I guess you should say, a very quick, very precipitous bear session, or do we go on down further? Look, I remember September took a lot longer to do it. Here was a pretty quick move. So moves can happen very quick. And we had a big old move the past few days. All right. Bam. Looking here. All right. How do I establish the SR levels? Yeah, so it's not all that complicated. That's the thing. It's just I know what to look for. So I wrangle up a couple of different data points. I'm looking at past price action, plus it's a little bit easier, and now we've got a little historical action down here at the 460, 455 level. I'm bringing historical prices, I'm bringing volume, I'm bringing open interest, and then I'm bringing in spot gamma data, which is delta, et cetera, et cetera. And I start to figure out which levels that the price wants to pivot at, up or down, pivot, downwards, upwards, and tie it all in. So we've got a little green action coming back to S2. Microsoft is starting to roll over. So is Apple. Amazon already did a little bit. Tesla's coming down just a touch. Google. Nvidia, a little bit of downside there. It's the only red stock of the top end. Now it just flipped green again. Facebook, JP Morgan, Berkshire right there. Okay. A lot of green there in the financial sector. All right. So let's take a look here. SPX. Just figuring out a few things here. We got current 4.6 right there. Bounce off 4. Okay. Good question. Good question. Which SR levels are the strongest today? Let's go over that. All right, so we have some green action coming up through here, right through S2 after not quite getting down, almost down to S3, a few cents off of it. We got some bottom wicks here, but the volume is definitely steady decreasing. I want to see an influx of buyers here to prove whether or not we're going to climb on back up here. All right, so I'm just looking at my levels. So R4 is going to be one of the most substantial ones. However, R1 is no slouch. So R4 and R1 are going to be the most significant ones. So upward resistance is definitely quite aggressive. Quite aggressive. Yeah, we got Powell talking today, 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern Time. So R4 and R1. Can I attempt to learn this with a $100 budget? Yeah. You're just gonna have to adjust. You're gonna have to adjust your DTEs and your strikes in order to accommodate the $100 position size. And obviously, I mean, there's going to be some concerns about position sizing there, which I understand, but do what you can. So, all right, so green action filling that gap right up here. So coming up just now under S1, and bear with me, I'm figuring out a couple of things right here, not being quiet. Let's see. Looking at these, looking at the volume. Okay, good. So we got a rejection right off S1, which we've been oscillating around it all pre-market, right around this level. Come up and now we're bouncing off of it, increasing buying volume right here. So I'm going to definitely keep an eye on that. Yeah, so R4, R1, both of them are significant upward resistance. So if we do start to come up there, I'll be looking for a break of R1, and then if we ever get that high, which would be a very significant move, let's watch for R4. Is it better to avoid playing during the hours of JPOW? Leading up to it will be very dicey, for sure. And then, of course, obviously, the content of his speech will definitely affect the market. If he says something that shakes out the market, like I'm no longer discussing transitory inflation, like that kind of thing, that obviously will move the markets. Are you definitely welcome, Patrick? Thanks for being here. Appreciate that. Will I be trading options today? Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Thank you. Thank you. Do you place trades only when SPR breaks S4? No. So those are just the big ones I want to look at. Outside of that, I want to focus on playing at the level. So like right now, we're currently on S2. If I see a precipitous move away from S2, I want to. That's by the way, I'm only allocated like 3 uses of the words precipitous. I've already used 2 of them. So if we break away from S2, is when I want to start playing breaks outside of the level. So I don't want to play in between the levels or like in between the ranges here as much as I can, unless something obvious pops up. Most of the time, I want to play breaks away from the levels, not in between the levels. That's the way I use them personally. That is a good thought. A straddle before a speech. If there's anticipation of a market moving speech, like if he's not talking about stuff, if he's actually like, for example, at FOMC, a great example. In fact, to jump on straddles. A couple of members were talking earlier in pre-market today about every day just open a straddle at 3:59 Eastern time and then close it the next morning. I mean, if you would have done that the past week, you would have made money like 100% of the time because you're like that move is going to put you in the profits. There's about a 4-second delay, 3 to 4 second delay, yeah, on the YouTube. Yep, IV is definitely a factor. Is definitely a factor. That would be the downside of it. All right, red candle after rejecting S1. I am big red. I am. Yep. Just joined the Patreon. Looking forward to digging in. Yeah, me too. Welcome, Ron. Thank you. Thanks for being here. I secured 100% win. There's more. Nice. Nice. All right. Yeah, it is pretty silly, Chris, but, you know, it is what it is. It's one of those things we can't fight. It's been going like this for going on 2 years now. It'll be 2 years in February where the market just or March it just keeps going up and up and up, and we can't fight it. So just play it as it comes. That's why I'm saying if you're not comfortable in this particular environment, like don't swing anything overnight. Things this is a very volatile market, if anything. So let's take a look. Yeah, I do. There's a ton of OI at 455 as well as 453. So pals in 8 minutes. That's right. Thanks for the reminder. Is there a chat session on Patreon? Yes, there is. Dallas asks, "Is how do I decide which contract strikes to look at? I usually just look at data. I'm sorry, delta and theta. Yeah, I actually look at those two as well. I'm looking for open interest volume. When I go to pick out a strike, obviously I do have my system, and I talk about my system in a couple of videos. But I look at delta. I'm looking at theta. If I'm taking longer term plays, if I'm just taking some scalps or day trades, I don't really even consider theta. I'm looking at delta, volume, and open interest. Those are the three things I look at when I'm choosing a contract to purchase. I want the delta premium ratio to be sufficient enough to get the profits I want with the relative move. When these premiums are so pricey like this, it's hard to get that move. Yesterday, for example, it was frustrating because I caught a put on this big downward move, and I only yielded like 25% profit, where normally it would be like well over 60, 70, 80% profit if I caught a move like this. So, granted, I didn't get the whole move. I only got like 2 or 3 of these candles, but still, regardless, it was aggravating. Yeah, it's hard to trade super high implied volatility environments like this. It is because when you're right, you're not right enough, and when you're wrong, it can go against you very quickly. Especially if you're not right in positions, if you're just longing positions, you could get hit with some IV crush or a premium will decay into the ground on you. Am I expecting Powell to sink it? No. If anything, I'd probably say he's going to try to prop this baby up after saying. I mean, now they're even talking about how the economy's not bad, how tapering is a good thing now after spending a year and a half saying how the market's going to roll when tapering starts. So now tapering is a good thing. Inflation is going to is going to help the economy, not hurt it, like all this stuff. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. It's definitely fun to listen to them talk in circles. That's funny. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we do spike to 500 before before end of December, January, something like that. I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that. But it's just straight on bulls. Like as long as we keep buying this stuff up, it's just going to keep on going. That's fine, and we'll just keep playing it. No worries, no worries. We'll keep on doing that. S2 461.13 right now holding strong. We'll see if some volatility comes into play as well. We have 9 minutes until the 10:05 time when we might get a move. Oh, thanks. Appreciate that. Yeah, I got to get that out there. Speaking of which, 311 people like that video, so like the video, so maybe we can actually get them up, get the visibility out there, get people watching the stream. Try to get some more facts out there, some information out there, people can start making some profitable trades, learn how to do this for the foreseeable future. I do, Will. Yeah. Well, I actually do hope they find it, Patrick, because I will tear that from them. I won't allow that in there, and we'll kind of change their brand. I know a few people from WSB came in here, and now they're one of us, one of us, one of us. It's okay not knowing, yeah, because I guess that's the big thing. You see it all over the place that everyone wants to predict. Everyone's like, they do a great job of screenshotting the price that they predicted and posting it when they don't do it the 9 other times they're wrong. They only do it the one time they're right. So everyone wants to predict what's going on. They want to predict a price. And that's great, grand, and wonderful, but it's not practical. And it's not our job to predict a certain price. It's our job to predict price action and movement. Um, and it's not necessarily predicting it 3 weeks in advance. It's predicting it, right now at the ready. So, and the more information you bring into, the more data, the more information you bring into your system, the better you can anticipate movement in the right direction. No, Will. No. Yeah, I don't use Fibonacci for the levels. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate that. All right, look at this green off of S2 now coming up there. I'll be watching if we do break above the morning range here. I'll be looking for calls if we break above. There's QQQ kind of bouncing up here. XLF is up to the top. XLV down a little bit, and XLY is right there. There's 15 to 20% a better range to allow. All right, stop loss to be looking at. It's a great question. I remember, if you remember, I guess you weren't here, but back in the spring, early summer, I was setting my stops at 10%, my option stops, and I kept getting stopped. Like I remember, if I remember correctly, like 3 times in a row, I set my stops at 10%, and then immediately got stopped out, and the price immediately reversed all 3 times and went up for like 20 plus percent. It would have been a 20 plus percent profit. So I adjusted to 15%, and that worked out pretty well. As long as you're not continuously taking 15% stops, it'll work out pretty well because it'll allow the price to fluctuate a little bit, breathe, expand, and then go on and be properly if you're right. All right, green action here. I'm bringing up calls for a breakout potential SPX. See that? Bam, 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 bam. All right, now ready. You're welcome, Melter. You're welcome. All right, just shorted S1. Careful. What's the biggest misconception you see regarding analytical tools? I know nowadays you look. The biggest misconception is that technical indicators are trading systems. That people, like when you ask people, hey, what kind of trader are you? What do you, what's your trading system? All they do is start spouting. All we do is start spouting technical indicators at you. I do EMA crossovers. I do this, I do that. So that's the biggest misconception, and like people don't really understand truly what's going on. They they do. Well, I'm watching this level. I'm talking here. Oh, thanks. Well, yeah. Look at that big green. Okay, stand by. I want to look at this right here. All right, so everything's flipping green. Strong green action here. XLV, XLY, XLK. Strong green action there as we're coming on up. Come on now. Didn't get filled on that one. Tried to jump in there at this 46.40, but didn't get filled, and now it's up there a little bit. Still not moving all that much. So, man. All right, right over R1 here. QQQ. So nice green healthy action here on tech. Let's see what's going on. So Google, Nvidia both climbing out. Facebook's there. SPX is 46.30 right now, coming up to there. These are outdated. Tried to get in one. Nope, didn't get filled though. And I'm glad I didn't because that thing was breaking out right there. So 14%. Nice, Justin. Nice. What broker do you trade on? I use E-Trade. And right now I've got the 8 EMA and VWAP up there just to give me a line in the sand there. Nice, Daniel. Well done. All right, Microsoft, look at that big red. All right, so Microsoft is down. Apple's got some red here, so definitely be aware of the market. That's an interesting change in market right there. Big sell-off on the top dog. Microsoft, and that's probably what stalled SPY because everything else is still up. A little bit of red on across the board. However, Microsoft definitely flushed the bottom. Nice, always. Good job. Good job. Well done. Well done, Diamond. Here we go there. Just take a look right there. All right. So right on R1 right now. So we popped above R1. Now we're challenging downside again. Now watch. That flipped the ranges of the session change, or it opened up the session range just at the last second. So right before 905 hit, we're now up to 462.65. So now that changes it to a $2.40 range, 41-cent range. Well done, Steve. Well done. Learn a little something. Good stuff. Looking here. All right, so we bottom wick there on SPY. The buying volume is not really stepping in just yet. I'm on the 3-minute chart now. I'm going to kind of just start zooming out, start looking at some trend. 5-minute looks very bullish. 15-minute, nice big healthy candle there on the 15-minute chart. And we're about halfway through that candle. Little side note, I don't know if y'all remember me breaking my finger, but it makes typing interesting now when you've got a crooked pinky finger. All right. So we got a little green right here. A lot of green across the board there, and the X's SPY is still climbing up here. Yeah, for sure. All right, let's watch this S2. QQQ's there. Let's see how Microsoft is reacting now to that big red. Apple starting to round touch over. So a lot of green. Look at Google. Google's up 2.5. Nvidia's up as well. Strong action. JP Morgan's going nuts up there to 2.5% and climbing. SPY is testing S2 or R2. Yeah, everything is just nice and green. A little bit of red there on some tech, but a lot of action here, a lot of green. Powell's still not talking yet, so be aware of that. There could inject a little volatility in there. Or a lot of people know that Powell's going to come out and say, we're going to, do something crazy and support the economy through 2022, all that kind of stuff. Nice, Kevy. Regret not getting that, Phil. I'm sitting there looking at my order form there. Now we're up here right at R2. Let's watch how this thing breaks. So now R1 was one of the considerable levels. R1 and R4, those are the two big ones. And here we are. We blasted right through R1 after toying with it for a little bit, and now we're bouncing right off R2. I'm still in my call spread from yesterday, not my, just to clarify that. But yes, I'm still holding it. All right. So right at R2. Do you manually put in the SR levels? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I'll have to calculate that. I actually do need to update my trading log here on the channel. I'll do that today. Remind me, I'll do that today. Nice, Jody. I manually update. So what I do is, in TradingView, I use the horizontal line indicator, which all it is that right there, just a little horizontal line indicator. And then I update the actual price. And I calculate that based on whatever calculations I do, and I threw that in there. Man, look at the bonds. Big sell-off action in the bonds there. XL. So y'all are great. Y'all are an indicator in and of itself. Y'all remind me to ping different stuff here when I get caught up in the weeds. All right, so XLF has got some green coming up there with one last red candle. XLV and K are both starting to round over just a touch. What's going on here. Microsoft, watch the heaviness of Microsoft. Now remember, we've been talking about like the past few months that Apple's the big dog. Now Microsoft is now the biggest holding of SPY as of this week. So be aware, now that one's coming down, it'll bring in a little bit more action. Microsoft was like third or fourth. Now it's number one, which only a couple of percentage points change, no big deal, but it's still top dog, and now it's got some considerable downside here. Amazon's got a big red candle now here as well. Tesla, Google, Nvidia, all coming down, and we've got a rejection off R2. That should treat my call spreads pretty well here. So I'm up about 50% on my call spread from yesterday. It was up a lot more yesterday afternoon, obviously, but still doing well. Thanks, FD. Yeah, that R2 rejection was almost down to the penny. Actually, was down to the penny. So I like it. I like it. How much time goes into pre-market analysis each morning? Well, it all depends, really. The past few, I guess, week or so, it's been putting me about 20, 30 minutes in to really get a really good feel for what's going on, because there's a lot of data going on. We have VIX extremely high, implied volatility is very high. We've got a couple of charged news events going on. We've got the Omicron. We've got Omicron. We've got now J Powell has thrown an extra ingredient into our chili with saying transitory is no longer on the table. Early tapering, all this stuff is got a charged narrative this week, and it's not really common that we have a charged narrative. So we've got that in addition to we are flipping back into the negative gamma levels we did this week. So volatility is increasing. Things are shaking and baking. A lot of things are changing. So it takes a little bit more time this week to do an accurate pre-market analysis to get a full feel for what's going on. Not to mention, I have to be very careful because I do not want to impart any bias that I have on my community. So I have a responsibility not to impart my bias on you all. So I'm trying to be very neutral in my thinking, so I don't. So we play things smart. So I want to be very careful. So it takes me about 25, 30 minutes to do everything, start to finish, from going into Bloomberg and then Spot Gamma and then the options chain and bringing up all the data I can. Great question though. I'm playing SPX right now. All right, so watch this green above R2. I'm R4 and R1 are the two biggest in terms of data. But yeah, do I have a Bloomberg terminal? No, but I do want to get one. That's actually a 2022 goal. Get me a Bloomberg terminal. No, I'm talking about Bloomberg News. Bloomberg News. R1 and R4. Do you disclose how you form SR levels? Yes, yes. So I have two different videos. I'll post those here. Let me watch this action here. I don't want to miss this movement because I think we're at a pivot of whether or not we're going to spike or drop. But I do have two videos on them. Yeah. All right, so I want to watch right here. Right out here. You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, so the volume is steady. We're not having a drop off of volume here, and that's what I'm looking for because right now it is supported. It is supported until I see a big drop off in bullish volume, and then I'll think. But now we have this little stall in the tech. Microsoft right now is got this downside, a little bit of green now. Let's see if that bounces up here. But there's a lot of red here in tech. Google's still green. Nvidia's selling off. Facebook is down as well. And SPY's got these top wicks right at R2. And so far, we're just grinding up and up and up. This seems like the kind of dip that happens really quick and just launches to all-time highs. Yeah, for sure. Definitely, Mike. Oh, thanks, Jody. Glad that worked out. Right now, I'm leaning towards calls. I've got the calls up ready to go. If we start getting breakouts here, I'll look at closing that call. I don't want to test the waters. I'm still in the green on that call, the call spread. If we start getting some crazy action, I know what SPY can do. If it starts beast moding up, I'll close that baby. Because, yeah. Things can get hairy very quickly. It's all about the same. It's all about the same. You know, I've been testing a lot of different strategies. I know I've always done some form of call writing or put writing in the past, but I've been testing different strategies that work well with these levels because I want to focus on these levels. And I tested shorting strangles, but it uses up too much buying power. So then I tested, okay, well, how can I apply? Because I can't really apply short strangles to the masses because not everyone has 105, 110 grand of buying power to do a couple of short strangles with on SPX. So I'm trying to, that's why I brought in iron condors, because you can start buying calls as well to increase your buying power. You can start doing call spreads, which is what I'm doing as well. So I'm trying to think on that. Now, I think the good ratio is a good 50 to 100 wide like credit spread, and you can start building in some more buying power, which at that point, it all depends. It all depends on what you're comfortable with and the amount of risk you're wanting to take. It also all depends on the amount of credit you're going to get. So if I can utilize a good environment, then we'll go anywhere from 5 to 10 spreads. Maybe more than that, maybe less. It all depends. Nice, Mark. Well done. And I appreciate the super chat. Thank you very much for supporting the community. So 19% on one SPX contracts. Well done. Well done. Yellow bars are the AM session range, the veterans AM session range. And all that is the high and low price from market open until 10:05 Eastern. About 3-minute, Will. I'm always on the 3-minute. Well done, Mark. Very well done. Thank you again for supporting the community. Good stuff. Tech is falling here. Microsoft is still low. Big red on Apple. Amazon, Tesla, big red on Tesla. So the market is now got some heaviness in tech. Could this bring us down? Could this bring us down? Starting to get a little antsy there with that position. So, all right. So off R2 coming down. First green trade in a while. Nice, ET. Phone home and let her know. Let somebody know. That's good stuff. Finally, you made a decision to take spreads. I've always remembered you were afraid to take spreads. No, I wasn't afraid to. It's just now I'm developing. I've always played spreads. Now I'm developing strategies based on a particular skill set. These SR levels. And not to mention me, there's definitely an appetite over the past month or so for those type of positions. This community wasn't founded on spreads; it was founding on day trading, SPY, long calls, long puts. So I want to stick to the bread and butter. I want to stick to the whole thesis of the community, which is education, and then long calls on SPY or long puts on SPY and stuff like that. And then now that there's an appetite and a demand for those type of positions, I'll start talking about that more and more. So. I'm here for you all. I will teach you. I'll help you learn and teach you as much as I can. All right. This Fed talk is heated. How much market awareness is needed when trading Qs versus when trading SPY? Just enough. You have to be aware of especially in Qs. Qs don't have the financial sector. That's one of the benefits of trading Qs. If I remember back in the summertime, it was very common for Qs to be up strong, SPY to be down or flat, and people elected to play Qs a lot. When the tech sector is very strong and everything else is pretty flat, it's good to play some Qs. You just have to be aware of those conditions. Not yet. The only video I've done so far on that, there's more quote unquote advanced stuff, is the straddles, and I'll be breaking more and more into the strangles. Something that's really imparted on my heart this week, though, and I've kind of discussed this with Funky or Q and Howard, the mods behind the scenes. Something that's been put on my heart this week is I want to do something more on, like, people have to realize when to start putting risk on, because there are still people getting destroyed swinging positions. Especially for me, I see on the backside, people put in, reasons why their account got blown up and stuff like that. So, when you start taking on too much risk, and like I have all these dudes or people that've got $100 to $1,000 accounts, small accounts, and they're swinging stuff overnight because they feel like they have to make those big wins in order to grow their account, and they're getting destroyed left and right. Whether or not you're taking calls thinking that the market is going to go up overnight, or you're taking puts, or whatever it is. So, yeah, I think I'm not sure which video is going to be next, either that or it's going to be a spreads video. Either way. No, not at all anytime soon. I love doing this, Prince. I love it. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. Editing, it's been fun because it's been a learning process. It's been learning process. Is learning how to edit. I've never done any kind of video editing before, so it's definitely learning on the fly. It's funny because if you go back and look at my first videos where I was recording my laptop monitor from my phone with the video. It's pretty funny how far we've come. Oh yeah, forgot about that. Okay, yeah, that reminds me. I've had a crazy week, man. And I'm watching still R2. Oh, I'm changing something real quick. I forgot about this. Okay. All right. All right. Done. Done. All right. So yeah, the tier 3, which has normally been not locked down, I locked it up because it was getting a lot of people in the one-on-ones. We obviously know. Now that December 1st and here is, I'm opening that back up to all, and we're transitioning from one-on-one meetings to a classroom setting. There's going to be a lot of cool stuff added, and I'll be announcing that as it becomes official more and more throughout the month and into January. But there's going to be a lot of stuff. It's not only going to be me sometimes. Sometimes I'm going to bring on other trusted people in the community to talk about strategies, whether it be spreads, long call positions, how to do stuff. So it's going to be a classroom setting, Q&As. I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to come out and start talking about a lot of stuff. I'm going to kind of develop some products, and then other people are going to ask questions. It's a great environment because it's going to allow you to open up your mind. Someone may ask a question that you may not have thought of, and then have a group session where we can start to talk about stuff that's outside of market hours. We could focus on the charts. We could focus on educating ourselves instead of worrying about missing a trade. So if you want to sign up for that, it is open again. The restriction on the tier 3 has been released, so you can sign up if that's something you want to do. The link is down in the description if you want to be a part of that. Yep. Yep. Tier 3 is the incredible Patreoners. Yep. All right. So we have a red action off of R2 coming down to R1 again. Let's see. We got some, Microsoft is still holding the bottom of their range. Watch out for a breakdown in that. Tesla's down. Google's up. Nvidia, a lot of shaking and baking. Yes, they will. They will. It's going to help you learn, and I'm going to discuss everything from the basic stuff all the way to advanced. So absolutely, absolutely, I'm going to be discussing everything and everything in between. All right, pal is finally talking. Stay frosty. So I won't talk too much here, so we can listen to what's going on.
Red talk button is on.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, he's got technical difficulties too.
How's that?
Yes, that's better.
Okay. All right.
I'm not the only one.
Chairwoman Waters, Ranking Member McHenry, and other members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify today. The economy has continued to strengthen. The rise in Delta variant cases temporarily slowed progress this past summer, restraining previously rapid growth in household and business spending, intensifying supply chain disruptions, and in some cases keeping people from returning to work or looking for a job. Fiscal and monetary policy and the healthy financial positions of households and businesses continue to support aggregate demand. Recent data suggests that the post-September decline in cases corresponded to a pickup in economic growth. GDP appears on track to grow about 5% in 2021, the fastest pace in many years. As with overall economic activity, conditions in the labor market have continued to improve. The Delta variant contributed to slower job growth this summer as factors related to the pandemic, such as caregiving needs and fears of the virus, kept some people out of the labor force despite strong demand for workers. Nonetheless, October saw job growth of 531,000, and the unemployment rate fell to 4.6%, indicating a rebound in the pace of labor market improvement. There is still ground to cover to reach maximum employment for both employment and labor force participation, and we expect progress to continue. The economic downturn has not fallen equally, and those least able to shoulder the burden have been the hardest hit. In particular, despite progress, joblessness continues to fall disproportionately on African Americans and Hispanics. Pandemic-related supply and demand imbalances have contributed to notable price increases in some areas. Supply chain problems have made it difficult for producers to meet strong demand, particularly for goods. Increases in energy prices and rents are also pushing inflation upward. As a result, overall inflation is running well above our 2% longer-run goal, with the PCE price index up 5% over the 12 months ending in October. Most forecasters, including at the Fed, continue to expect that inflation will move down significantly over the next year as supply and demand imbalances abate. It is difficult to predict the persistence and effects of supply constraints, but it now appears that factors pushing inflation upward will linger well into next year. In addition, with the rapid improvement in the labor market, slack is diminishing and wages are rising at a brisk pace.
So nothing much, yeah. You ain't going to say much here.
We understand that high inflation imposes significant burdens, especially on those less able to meet the higher costs of essentials like food, housing, and transportation. We are committed to our price stability goal. We will use our tools both to support the economy and a strong labor market and to prevent higher inflation from becoming entrenched. The recent rise in COVID-19 cases and the emergence of the Omicron variant pose downside risks to employment and economic activity and increased uncertainty for inflation. Greater concerns about the virus could reduce people's willingness to work in person, which would slow progress in the labor market and intensify supply chain disruptions. To conclude, we understand that our actions affect communities, families, and businesses across the country. Everything we do is in service to our public mission. We at the Fed will do everything we can to support a full recovery in employment and achieve our price stability goal. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I now recognize myself for 5 minutes for questions. As the pandemic
All right, yeah.
was raging last year, Many members of this committee suggested that for all the...
And I'm done with that. All right, yeah, so he's not, it's all the same old stuff we've been hearing. Nothing crazy. All right, questions. How much a delay? Okay, you're welcome. I was listening to the oversight committee. It was just, nothing. All right, so we're still holding R1. So let's monitor the tech situation here. Things are up there. So what do we do now the rest of the day? So this is where we want to wait for a break. R1, remember, R1 is significant. So now I'm waiting for the break of R1. The risk of persistent inflation has risen. Yeah. To me, it's all dependent on the market environment. In a very high environment like this, it's great to take advantage of premium decay. This is a great market. If you can pinpoint where the market will adjust or flatten out, you can play some short positions accordingly, and it works out very well. I just broke my pen. No good. All right, so looking for a play here. I know there's not really much going on here. I'm just monitoring my current position, the call spreads. Other than that, not much going on. Fantastic way if you think that we're not gonna, a good strategy here would to start placing some positions outside here. Maybe if you think you want to do an IC or even a call spread, I would probably lean towards more a call spread than I would a put spread. The way the markets are kind of shaking out, there's a little heaviness in tech here. Until I see a 4650 pop, I want to see until we had a close over 4650. I'm not convinced that we're going to be long-term bullish yet, and that's what we're looking for. All right, here's some red action, by the way, right off of R1. Nice, Chris. Well done. There's that red action. What's going on there? So another selling action. What'd she say? I just turned it off. What'd Maxine say? Did Powell just drop the mic and walk away? Beautiful. So what did that do to my vert? All right, let's see. Booyah. All right, so now look at things are looking tight. Things are looking tight. Just made $40 in 5 seconds. There you go, $40. Did you calculate that into an hourly rate? Yeah, buddy. Yeah, yesterday I was waiting. I was waiting patiently yesterday. Like here, I didn't take a play right here at all, and then it took 3 plays of the way down. So I'm waiting for the moves. I don't want to force positions out. If you took puts there, fantastic. That was a great move. In fact, going back to R2, not a bad idea. And on Monday morning, quarterback that one. However, I'm just kind of waiting. Look, that thing immediately got bought up, and I'm waiting for the move. I've already got one position on the table. I'm locking in some money, locking in some profits. Great day. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I already swung it. I swung it from yesterday. It actually expires today. Large boy. Yeah, well done, Lil B. Coming out with the big old 63%er. Yeah, so another announcement here coming up. A lot of good stuff coming up in December, as you all know. Friday, I will be opening up the Patreoners room for all of you. If you're a non-Patreoner, you won't be able to talk, but I just want people to see what's going on there and the conversations that we have. So if you are interested in taking a look at Patreon Friday only, I'll be opening up the Patreons for view only for everybody, so you can take a look what's going on, how I talk, how I post plays, etc., etc., and the conversations that we have. So be on the lookout for that. And then also the regular Patreoners will be able to see what the tier 2s talk about, and super Patreoners. So they'll be able to really focus on what's going on in that. So be here or be square on Friday. It'll be a good time. It'll be a good time. If I want to make money, start trading options, how should I start? Pretty much a day trade or swing trade? Well, it really depends. It really depends. There's a whole plethora of options out there, strategies out there. I don't even know what that is. So there's a whole bunch of different strategies out there. You can do, like I started out swing trading. Like that's what I started out. Just naturally. Like I wasn't, day trading to me when I first started was very, it was taboo, like scalping, day trading. So I started doing swing trades, 2 to 3 week trades. Sometimes I'd do some day trades when I first started. I'd hold things for a few weeks, and it worked out pretty well. But then I wanted to start, now the more and more I started to, is that our own NFT? Options Millionaire NFT. So yeah, the more and more I learned about the market, the more I kind of tiptoed into day trading and scalping a lot more, because you started to figure out how price action works. I started to figure out what news does, and et cetera, et cetera. And then I started building into scalping, into day trading. It worked out very well. And then I started balancing. I started doing, all right, more swing positions, more day trades. Then I started, and in fact, it actually made me a better long-term trader. I started to be able to add to my positions in my long-term trading account a lot more effectively than just blindly adding. So there's a whole bunch of different stuff. Does a price action work with the same action with Bitcoin as it does with stocks? I don't day trade Bitcoin or crypto, but I've been told that it is similar action, and these levels do work with it. Man, look at that buy up. Huge hammer off that red, which is very bullish here. That big red was immediately smashed and brought right back up to R2. So that is interesting. Right back to R2 though. Now here's the thing: if we continue to reject R2, I'll start slinging some puts. Maybe I might even open another call spread here if that happens. So I'll take some puts here at R2 and see if that can continue to reject. QQQ now is pretty much flat. Apple, look at Apple, busted out the top. Right at R2. Let's watch what happens on this next confirmation candle. Lack of patience. That you hit the nail right on the head, Jody. Right on the head. Credit spreads will. Yep. Inflation is good for the economy now. Yeah, it is. I actually read that this morning in the morning news report from Bloomberg. They were talking about how rising inflation is good for the economy. We have a stronger economy than ever, and tapering is only going to do nothing but support the upward mobility of the economy. So it's funny how the narrative has flipped. And that's right there where it's that is one of the reasons why I want to caution you all against chasing newsline narratives, because it's that stuff right there. Throughout 2020 and 2021, it was like, oh, expect the taper. It's going to roll everybody. It's going to kill everybody. And once the taper happens, it's going to explode. And now they flip the narrative, and now we have it chasing our tails. If you're following the news, oh, is this bullish? Is it bearish? Is this what's going on here, up or down? And I'm sorry, y'all can't see my hand movements, but yeah. So it's something you have to be aware of, because it's going to have you chasing your tail. That's why follow the data. Follow the data. Calculate pivot lines. Follow the data. It'll be a lot more profitable. Not to mention, it won't play on your emotions so much. Nice, Jody. Well done. Keep it up. Keep it up, buddy. That's right. Yeah. It's like, think about it. Think about it from a higher level. Yesterday we have big downside. We went from 463 to 455. That's an $8 move, and here we're right back to 463. What's changed from yesterday at 10 o'clock in the morning? What's changed in 24 hours? Nothing. And yet we've regained all the sell-off there. So it's absolutely right. It's absolutely right. Any significant news events that's actual news event is going to bring things down and keep it down, or continue, or have continuation. These one-day moves where it pops and then comes back up, like, what is that? Nothing's changed. So it's all about the narrative, and right now, works great. Do you plan to provide insights on crypto trading as well for Patreoners? I'm personally getting into long-term crypto investing. I'm nowhere near well versed enough to be educating anybody on crypto. However, I'll be bringing people in to talk about it. I know a couple of our members are very much into crypto, and they're going to be talking about it a lot. So I will yield to them in terms of advice from crypto. Right now, it all depends. We are above the session range, and we are upwards mobility right now. We'll see if that continues to trend upwards. But Ethereum and Bitcoin is what I'll be doing. Yep, and I won't be day trading those. I'll be buying and holding. All right, so watch this candle. We have one green up above R2. It's a new high for the day. Amazon is green. Apple climbing up the top. 169 on Apple. Love it. Love it. Yep, so we are approaching that volatility trigger. Thoughts on Apple? It's my second biggest holding. I love Apple. So I think in long term it's a fantastic investment. Do I think it's going to drop eventually? Yeah, sure. I mean it's in crazy. This crazy run up. 170 right now on Apple is insane. Love to see it though. New all-time highs all the time for Apple. Look at that. Good stuff. All right, green action again, popping up through R2. Man, look, that's an incredible reversal. That's a bullish reversal right there. So big downward action, immediately smashed in the face with a large influx of buying volume. That's a buying sentiment. And now we're having follow through the top of the range as well as R2 through considerable resistance here. So how to get better at technical analysis like watching YouTube and reading books? Oh, you just answered your own question. I like to find some good trusted sources on YouTube, whether it's me or anybody else, on following certain plays. Now, again, technical analysis, focus on figuring out what's going on with the market before you really start focusing on technical analysis as well. I'd rather you focus on how to read VIX bonds, how to read candles in volume, and then start building into picking which indicators you like, because indicators are important, but they're not the forefront. So after you do all that, then start picking. All right, well, I want to I want to figure out what's going on with the 821. I want to start utilizing VWAP, stuff like that. I would recommend picking the most common technical indicators if you're going to do technical indicators. Like VWAP, for example. Everybody and their mom uses VWAP. And because everyone uses it, the price is always going to work around that particular thing. So, not to mention it is an average weighting prices of the price, so it's a good correlation. You can actually get a good correlation of the trend with VWAP. No way. They're releasing a Starlink capable smartphone. I'll be buying it. Absolutely. I told you all, Starlink ever goes public, I will put a considerable amount of money, an egregious amount of money, in their stock. I will IPO the crap out of that baby. Right now it's the 8EMA and VWAP. 8EMA is blue and VWAP is green. All right, so we're just grinding up and up here. Grinding up and up. Is SPX going to go for a 100-point move today? That's the thing. Nope, can't go wrong with Apple, man. Apple always, always, always follows through. Never been disappointed with Apple. That's right, Edward. Yeah. Big wins are nice. I had 200% wins, 3 weeks ago? In 1 week, I had 200%ers. And ever since then, it's all been about 10%ers and 20%ers. So, my whole strategy is founded on small wins, 5, 10, 15%ers. And then every now and then, I'll toss in a big boy. Toss in a 50%, 60%. Or, sometimes I'll hit it big in 200%ers. That's great. But yeah, a perpetual profitable system is founded on the small wins. 10%, 15%, 5%. You're welcome, broski. I like the name. I'd have to look. I don't play spreads on SPY, but I'd have to look. I'd have to start developing a strategy on that as well. I would probably do $5. Man, this thing's just grinding up. It's doing that grind. What's the volume look like? Volume is sustained. Volume is sustained. Yeah, I've done that before, Chris. I like to bring in some hedges though, just because of the nature of the market. The nature of the market. If you hit your goal, I can count on, I'll say this. If you've got a daily goal and you've already hit it for the day, why risk giving anything back? Because I tell you, the worst feeling in the world is when I have a fantastic win and I'm feeling really good. I'm in a good mood. I just had a nice win, hit my goal, and then I immediately give it back. Or I have a losing afternoon and give back my profits. I hate that feeling more than anything, is giving back my money. Y'all know that I protect my profits with reckless abandon. Like I don't want the market touching my money. If I hit a goal, I mean before forming this community, like I would trade and most of the time I was done by 10 o'clock. The second I hit my profits, done, out. See ya, gone. Make my money, go live my life. So, most of the time. Nice, Roy. Well done. The above, nice. 2% of portfolio today. Well done. I was up quite a bit, ran around the house telling everybody, lost 80% of it. Yep, been there, done that. Been there, done that. If swing call is a good idea if SPY finishes strong. If SPY closes 46.50, not a bad idea. There is definitely some risk, but not a bad idea. I'd be more apt to take a straddle if we close above 46.50. Was it not the day for new membership for tear over pair? Yep, today's a new day, December 1st. December 1st. That's right. No one to walk away. No one to walk away. Opinion. Let's see here. What advice would you give to someone looking to start a long-term portfolio? Of course, buying Apple, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, yep. But then have to consider being near all-time highs, talk about a pullback since we've been raging. That's a great question. Great question. So there's a couple of things to consider. Yes, we are at all-time highs. We're at egregious all-time highs. Nobody really knows when the circus will stop, when the carousel will stop, and so it's up to you. I'm not going to say one way or the other not to take long-term positions. When I think long-term, I think 30, 40 years. Do I really care about a 10% correction right now? In the big scheme of things, not really. It's really up to you. If you want to wait until we do get a big pull down, that's cool. If you buy now and then you get the pull down, whatever. Just add to it when the time comes. I don't really fret about that stuff. Now, there is a small portion of my portfolio that I am going to manage. Just like I said, I closed out Tesla, I closed out Netflix because I think they're overvalued. And I think they're heavily manipulated with the options chain. And I think when the music stops, those two in particular are going to be smoked. Obviously, I closed out early on Tesla, which is fine. No, I think nobody can anticipate a 1,200 shot on Tesla. So, in terms of long-term trading, think 30, 40 years down the road. The whole purpose of my long-term trading is to get those big 4,000% wins. You're never going to get the 1998 Amazon purchase if you don't start long-term investing. You're never going to buy Bitcoin in 2008 if you don't start investing. You're never going to buy Tesla at $17 if you don't start investing. You have to long-term invest. Buy it, forget it. And then there's a whole different conversation you can have there. You could diversify your long-term trading account. You can start I have so much fun with my long-term trading account. I look at it as I'm my own hedge fund manager. It doesn't matter if you've got $5,000 or $10 million in account, whatever it is. I'm not saying I have $10 million. I'm just saying whatever you have. So I look at my long-term trading portfolio as my own little hedge fund. I have fun with it. I diversify it. I put in the certain stocks that I like, then I develop some in REITs, and then I build some in dividend producing portfolios like stocks, ETF stock. I have to have SPY and QQQ in there. You have to have those in there. So you start having fun with it, and then you look at what's going on. You adjust here, you adjust there, and there's a small portion that I do take in and out. REITs, I'll cut those out if I see a downturn in the housing market. I'll cut those out in a second. So. Yeah, not to mention that's another conversation. Real estate as well, for sure. let's see. In the past 2 weeks, I could have 4x my account. I've let winners run. Now I've let losers run. Well, here's the thing. That's a very, very common thing. Like the downfall of the retail of the common trader, or say the unprofitable trader, is letting losers run and cutting winners short, because it's all about emotions. When you got a winner, it's fear. When you've got a loser, it's greed. It's flipped. It does seem backward, because you think the profit side you're on that, but when you take that profits, when you have a position that's in the green 20-30%, you think, oh well, if I fail this, if I don't get out of this position, it's going to come back down. I'm scared of losing that money, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that baby loose. And then when you're down in the red, all you want is to be back in the green. You want nothing more than be back in the. You cannot lose that money. So you hold on, and then that position keeps going down and down and down. So that's why it's natural. It's natural for us to have the emotions to cut winners short and to let winners run. And you have to flip that on its head. And it goes against your natural human instincts. That's why everybody does it. If it wasn't natural human instinct, then it wouldn't be so common to let losers run and cut winners short. You got to flip it. Easier said than done, obviously, because you have to have the know-how. Flip it on its head. Hey, do you have any pictures of it I could see? Delta? You could send it to me privately if you want. What am I looking at here as far as entry? Well, I'm monitoring the premiums. Here, let me give you a little insight. Back here, right here, I was looking at calls, and I have a fill order right here. Or not a fill order. I have a canceled order for $22.80 on this call. I didn't get in. I missed the fill, so I canceled the entry, obviously. But I'm looking at it, and now they're at $26.40. So that's a $4. That's a what? That's less than a 20% win on all this movement here. So there's not like the calls aren't moving all that much relative. So I'm not really too quick to jump into position here. I think the risk is a little high here. And if I see a breakout, I'll play that. I'm looking for a breakout up or a breakout down. Obviously, I'm still holding the credit spread. That's doing well. As long as we don't pop above too high here, I'll be fine. As long as we don't go that much higher. So, but yeah, we'll see. I may double down on some credit spreads, depending on how the action goes at the end of the day. 46.50 is basically my mindset. If we close above 46.50 on SPX, I'll look at going long. I'm on a 3-minute. If you look at the watermark right here, ticker, and then time frame right here, 3-minute. Will XLF move above 40 in December? Potentially. What causes you not getting filled? The price moves above it, and my limit gets blown past. Today, they expired today. I owed them yesterday. They were 1 days. Yep. So if we break above and hold 46.50, I'll be looking for continuation of 4,700. Thanks, Octo Donnie. Man, another grind up here. Right up to R3. Look at this. Look at this. SPX is already up 78 points. So we're going to open up and go to 100 points today. Is it going to be another one of those rage fests? SPY is up $8.30 already. And there's a big green candle above R3. Just as I open my mouth about calls not moving all that much. We blast up to 463, almost 4. Man, what's going on now? Still climbing. QQQ, big pop in tech. Tech. All right, so Apple. Microsoft's rebounding. Apple. Amazon. A lot of green action coming up here. Google's blasting to the top. Strong tech now. Look at that. It's going to be one of those days where we just grind up a little at a time, and before we know it, SPY is back at 468. I came from scalping equities at 1%, and slow grind is hard for me. Yeah, I understand. Nice Hot Wheels. A lot of crazy up movement for sure. Big upwards movement, downward movement. Look at this. Just chop right in this range, right here. And now SPY is again going from 455, almost a $10 move here. Another $10 move. Look at that. $10 move, $10 move, $10 move, $10 move. Crazy. Look, we went from 470. The next day we were at 456. The next day we were at 466. The next day we were at 455. Now we're going back to 450.65. $10 moves. 10, 10, 10, 10. Crazy stuff. Talk about volatility. Nice, Maxie. I did. Yeah, I posted 2 videos on those. So far on Patreon, not possible to subscribe to the new... Yeah, so it should be. If you upgrade to the Tier 2 or Tier 1, it should do the update. Just make sure that you've got your Discord account linked to your Patreon account, and it should automatically make the transition for you. If it doesn't, close out the app, the Discord app, and then refresh it, and that should clear it up. All right, another green strong candle here. Looking at calls. Still going. Still going. Nice, Edward. You know, thinking back on it, I don't think I've ever seen 4 $10 moves in a row outside of kind of like a major global event on SPY, but this is just nuts. Crazy stuff to see. Yeah, so R4 is going to be a difficult level. That's why I said R1 and R4 were the 2 top ones. And I want to be aware of those. So let's see right there. R. Yeah, this is going to be the highest level of gamma related here in open interest, so be careful today. Right here. I want to see a break above there. If we break above there, we could start having the big squeeze upwards. We've already popped $8.61, which is nutty, off of yesterday's lows of, what is that, $4.55. We're approaching the $10 mark. Yep, I'm looking at it right now, actually. R5. It's crazy. 2 days ago, I was calculating an S7, and now I'm calculating R5. Crazy movement. Definitely volatile, man. It's good stuff if you can take advantage of some of these big swings. Bottom wick candle right here, so it looks like we're about to pop above. All right, watch it. We're at R4 right now. R4 right now. Ooh, there we go. I like that. I like that. All right, let me look at the open interest here. What's going on? I'm calculating R5. Just stand by for a sec. SPY. Ooh. Okay. Okay. All right. R5 is 46520. All right. If we break above R4, I'll jump into some calls. So R4 is a tough one. That's what I'm watching. Okay. Yeah, R4 is definitely very tough. VIX broke down from 28 now down to 22. Alrighty, alrighty. Just watching right here. Watching right here. All right, y'all. It's about 10:30 my time, 11:30 East. I'm going to go ahead and call that a morning. Got a lot going on right here. Got to wrap up a few things behind the scenes. Plus, I got to get some protein. A little hungry, and I'm sure it's surprised you don't hear my stomach growling. So we're right here at R4, and this is where we want to focus on. We're the mover right here. We're at the strong resistance. Are we going to break upward, or are we going to break down? So just plan your positions accordingly and be very smart. So 464, we're at an $8.88 gain off of SPY's close. That makes the third or fourth biggest big move in as many days. So just be careful right here. Let's wait for a trade. Y'all be smart, play smart, look for Tier 3 if that's something you want to be a part of. The group sessions, I've opened it back up to the public. The link is down in the description of the video if that's something you want to be a part of, as well as the Discord server. Come on and join if you're not already there. Hit that like button for me so we can start to get a little more visibility on YouTube. The more you like it, the more we grow, and the more people can start to see this community. So thank y'all for being there. Appreciate you taking the time. I'll be back on YouTube on Friday morning, and I'll be back with a Patreon or stream tomorrow. Until next time, I'm out. See you.